So imagine you spend like 30 grueling years mastering this incredibly complex, high-stakes skill.
Yeah, giving up your whole 20s and 30s.
Right, exactly. You sacrifice all that time to study, to practice, to just hone this craft until it's absolutely perfect.
Oh, yeah.
And then, right at the peak of your expertise, when your mind is, sharper than it has ever been, and your judgment is just flawless, your own body betrays you.
It's the ultimate biological paradox, really.
Yeah.
The physical vessel that you need to execute that mastery, it just begins to give out, right, when your cognitive pattern recognition is at its absolute highest.
Right.
It forces this collision between human brilliance and human frailty.
And that's exactly what our deep dive is about today. We are looking at how physical artificial intelligence is solving that exact paradox.
Which is such a fascinating shift.
It really is. And to be clear, right up front to everyone listening,
Yeah.
we aren't doing the classic sci-fi trope here.
No, definitely not.
Right. We're not talking about AI rendering human experts obsolete. We're looking at a much more profound reality today.
Yeah, how surgical robotics are actually physically rescuing our most valuable human experts from, well, the inevitable breakdown of their own bodies.
Exactly. And in the process, they're extending the healthy lifespans of both the patients and the surgeons.
Yeah. But to really grasp the magnitude of this robotic solution, we first have to look at the severe biomechanical reality of the operating room.
Oh man, it sounds brutal.
It is. The physical endurance test that a typical city hospital orthopedic surgeon is put through, it's just staggering.
Right. I mean, what does a normal day even look like for them?
Well, performing 3 to 5 major surgeries a day means standing, hunched over a sterile field for anywhere from 2 to 12 hours straight.
12 hours.
Yeah, without sitting.
That just sounds exhausting.
It's more than exhausting, it's actually destructive. Like, the medical literature shows a reality that is kind of shocking. Surgeons develop chronic musculoskeletal injuries at higher rates than coal miners.
Wait, really? Higher than coal miners?
Yeah.
But, I mean, on the surface, that sounds absurd. Coal miners are doing heavy manual labor, moving massive amounts of weight. And a surgeon is, holding instruments that way, like mere ounces.
Right, but the destruction doesn't come from the weight of the tools. It comes from the physics of static loading.
Static loading, what does that mean?
So when a surgeon maintains this unnatural, rigid, flexed posture over a table for hours on end, their muscles are continuously contracted, but without any dynamic movement.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and that constant tension severely restricts blood flow to the tissue, and at the same time, it subjects the cervical and lumbar spine to this unyielding compression.
Ouch.
Right. So over decades, that continuous static loading systematically, like micro tears the connective tissue and just grinds down the joints.
Wow. So by age 50, I was reading that a majority of practicing surgeons report debilitating neck, back, or shoulder pain.
Yeah, pain that actively interferes with their ability to work.
Right. And by 60, many of them physically cannot perform complex procedures anymore. They're forced to retire like 10 years earlier than doctors in other medical specialties.
Which is a tragedy for the field.
It reminds me of a high-performance athlete, like a championship quarterback whose career is cut short by failing knees.
That's a great analogy, actually.
Like, the mind can read the defense perfectly, right?
Yeah.
The strategy is flawless, but the physical chassis is completely shot.
Exactly. And that early forced retirement triggers a catastrophic brain drain for the entire medical system.
How so?
Well, surgery relies so heavily on accumulated pattern recognition. A master surgeon knows how a specific anomaly in tissue resistance feels.
Right.
They can instantly recognize the warning signs of some rare complication because, they've seen it happen 3 times over the last 30 years.
They can't just download that into a first-year resident.
No, not at all. It has to be earned through thousands of hours of repetition. So when that 60-year-old master surgeon has to hang up the scalpel, all that expertise just evaporates.
So if the human body is the limiting factor here, the weak link, the engineering challenge is, how do we remove the physical strain from the equation entirely without losing the human mind's brilliance?
Which is where teleoperated surgical robotics come in. They fundamentally alter the landscape.
Enter the Da Vinci, right?
Exactly. The pioneer in this space, Intuitive Surgical's Da Vinci system, it actually got FDA approval way back in 2000.
Wow, that early.
Yeah. And fast forward to 2024, there are over 10,000 of these systems installed in hospitals worldwide. They've done upward of 14 million surgeries.
Okay, wait, I need to clarify something here because I think a lot of people have a misconception about this.
Sure.
I remember originally picturing robotic surgery as the machine actually making the cuts, like some autonomous droid operating while the doctor just watches from afar.
Oh, right, yeah. Many people think that.
But realizing it's a teleoperation setup completely changes the dynamic. So the robot isn't actually making medical decisions or doing the surgery on its own.
No, no autonomy in this configuration at all.
So it's essentially the world's most sophisticated, life-saving video game controller.
That is, I mean, yeah, that's exactly what it is. The surgeon remains entirely in control at every single micro movement.
Okay.
But instead of fighting gravity and fatigue while looming over a patient, they sit across the room at this really ergonomic console.
Oh, so they're sitting down.
Right. They maintain a completely neutral posture, neck straight, shoulders relaxed, and they're looking into this high-definition stereoscopic 3D display of the surgical field.
That makes so much more sense.
Yeah, their hands manipulate highly sensitive controllers, and the robotic arms over the patient instantly mimic those exact inputs.
So taking the physical weight off the surgeon totally eliminates that static loading you mentioned, the thing that destroys their spine.
Exactly. It's the first major step in career longevity.
But the robotic instruments themselves are engineered to bypass human limits too, right? Because they have wrists with 7 degrees of freedom.
Mathematically, yeah. 7 degrees of freedom allows an instrument to completely mimic the human arm's ability to position a hand in 3D space and orient it in any direction.
Right.
But where the robotic wrist vastly surpasses human biology is its ability to just articulate, bend, and rotate continuously.
Because our wrists can't turn all the way around.
Exactly. A human wrist is constrained by ligaments, tendons, bones. We can't turn it 360 degrees. The artificial wrist has no limitations like that.
Which completely changes the spatial geometry inside the patient's body.
It really does.
Because to perform complex suturing manually, a surgeon needs to make an incision large enough just to maneuver their own hands and tools, right?
Right. But the robotic instruments use a fulcrum point right at the incision wall.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So the external arm moves broadly, but it pivots perfectly at this tiny entry point, while the internal wrist articulates and works inside a highly confined, like, keyhole space.
And that pivot minimizes the lateral torque on the patient's tissue.
Absolutely. Less stretching and tearing of the abdominal wall translates to dramatically less tissue trauma.
But, beyond the ergonomics and the mechanical stuff, the most vital intervention happens in the software layer.
Right.
Between the surgeon's hands and the robot.
Oh, for sure. Because surgery requires immaculate precision, which brings us to the hurdle of physiological tremor.
Right, because every human hand shakes involuntarily.
Yes. Every single one. It's a natural biological vibration. It typically happens at a frequency of about 8 to 12 hertz.
Okay.
Like when you're drinking coffee or typing, it's completely imperceptible.
But if you're doing microvascular repair, like trying to seamlessly stitch together a blood vessel, the width of a piece of thread, that invisible 8 to 12 hertz vibration, is a massive liability.
It can literally be the difference between a successful repair and a catastrophic failure.
Wow.
And as humans age, that natural tremor often becomes slightly more pronounced. So historically, when a master surgeon in their early 60s noticed their hands shaking just a fraction of a millimeter too much,
Their career in microsurgery was effectively over.
yep, forced to stop.
But now, the software steps in and literally filters out human biological flaws. It's basically like noise-canceling headphones, but for your hands.
I love that analogy. That's exactly how it works.
It's wild to think about.
The robotic system uses real-time kinematic signal processing. It continuously analyzes the motion data coming from the hand controllers.
Okay.
And the algorithms can distinguish between an intentional, deliberate micro-movement and the rapid, repetitive oscillation of that involuntary tremor.
So it knows what to shake and what's a purposeful move.
Yes. The software mathematically subtracts that specific 8 to 12 hertz tremor frequency before the movement command ever reaches the robotic arms touching the patient.
That's incredible. And it pairs that tremor cancellation with motion scaling, too.
Right.
So the software can be calibrated so that when a surgeon moves their hand, say, a full centimeter at the console, the robotic instrument inside the patient only moves 2 millimeters.
Exactly. So think about what that means. A 65-year-old surgeon facing a career-ending tremor can sit at this console and operate with the perfectly steady, hyper-precise hands of a 30-year-old.
It's like turning back the clock.
We are mathematically subtracting the effects of biological aging. It lets the pure, accumulated cognitive wisdom of that master surgeon shine through, unhindered by their physical body breaking down.
And the frontier of this technology is pushing even further, right, into personalized kinetics.
Oh, it's moving fast. Companies like Active Surgical and Vicarious Surgical are using machine learning to adaptively support a surgeon's specific movement patterns.
Wait, so it learns how a specific doctor operates?
Yeah. It doesn't just apply a generic filter. The software actually learns the specific motion patterns of the surgeon's hands over hundreds of hours.
Wow.
It anticipates their intended trajectories and provides adaptive support that continuously compensates for their unique physical limitations or asymmetries.
So the robot literally becomes a personalized extension of that specific surgeon's nervous system. Upgrading the surgeon's physical capabilities like this doesn't just save their job, though. It creates a direct, measurable expansion of healthy lifespan for everyone involved.
With a compounding effect.
Right. Let's look at the data from the sources. There's a 2031 Harvard study that tracked surgical cohorts across 20 different hospitals.
Yeah.
And they found that transitioning to robotic surgery added an average of 8 years to an operating career.
8 years. That's huge.
They're keeping master surgeons actively operating into their 70s.
And think about the value of those 8 additional years. That represents thousands of complex procedures performed by someone at peak cognitive mastery.
Just because we gave them a mechanical body double to take the physical damage.
Right. But the longevity benefits on the patient side are equally staggering.
Because if you're the patient, you don't really care about the doctor's ergonomics. You care about your outcome.
Exactly. And a 2023 meta-analysis of 52 clinical trials showed that robotic-assisted procedures resulted in a 20 to 30% reduction in patient recovery time compared to traditional open surgery.
20 to 30% faster recovery? That's massive.
It is. And it's the direct biological result of using that robotic wrist to work through smaller incisions. Less tissue trauma means you heal faster.
And when a patient heals faster, they spend drastically less time immobilized in a hospital bed, which is crucial, right?
So crucial. Prolonged immobilization after major surgery is a massive risk multiplier.
Because it opens the door for things like pneumonia, deep vein thrombosis, dangerous blood clots, rapid muscle atrophy.
Exactly. Getting a patient moving earlier short-circuits that entire cascade of risk. Fewer post-surgical complications translate directly to better long-term outcomes and demonstrably lower mortality risks.
Which connects right back to the listener. If you ever need a complex surgery, you don't want to have to choose between a young doctor with steady hands and an older doctor who has seen every complication in the book.
Right.
This technology guarantees you get both.
It's a perfectly symbiotic loop. 8 more years of purpose for the master surgeon directly yields faster healing and lower mortality risks for thousands of patients.
Okay, so up to this point, we've established that today's human surgeon is fully in control. The robot is a passive conduit.
Yes.
But that paradigm is already shifting. What happens when the robot transitions from a passive tool to an active participant?
This is where we get into the next generation of surgical robotics. Limited autonomy for specific subtasks.
Which is fascinating, but also a little scary.
Well, let's look at the historically significant milestone for this. The 2022 trial of the STAR system.
The smart tissue autonomous robot developed at Johns Hopkins.
Right. In this trial, the robotic system performed a fully autonomous soft tissue suturing on the intestines of a living pig.
Autonomously sewing together moving living tissue.
Yeah.
That requires an incredible amount of real-time adaptation. Like, the robot isn't just following a rigid pre-programmed path like a car assembly line. It's dynamically responding to shifting organs and breathing.
Exactly. And the STAR system achieves that through advanced computer vision and tracking algorithms.
Okay.
It continuously maps the 3D deformation of the tissue and adjusts its suturing trajectory in real time.
Wow.
But what is really vital to note from that trial is that the robot completed those complex sutures with a level of mechanical consistency and precision that actually exceeded the human surgeons performing the exact same procedure.
Okay, I have to push back a little here, representing human concern.
Sure, go ahead.
I can totally embrace a robot steadying my doctor's hand.
Yeah.
But a robot autonomously sewing up my internal organs, that crosses a psychological line.
It feels risky, right? Yeah.
It feels like relinquishing control in a life or death scenario.
Yeah.
How do we learn to trust that?
It is a completely rational concern. The idea of autonomous surgery triggers deep anxieties, but Commercial aviation actually provides the perfect blueprint for understanding how this hybrid model will work over the next 10 years.
Oh, like autopilot.
Exactly. When you fly on a commercial jet, you absolutely rely on the highly trained human pilot for their critical judgment, their strategic understanding of weather, and their ability to navigate complex emergencies.
Right. You want a human in charge of the big picture.
But you also fully expect them to use the autopilot system to handle the continuous, highly repetitive mechanical execution of maintaining cruising altitude.
Right. Because the machine doesn't get bored or tired.
Exactly. The machine takes over those tedious subroutines because an algorithm doesn't experience fatigue or attention drift after holding a straight line for 4 hours.
That makes total sense.
Offloading that mechanical execution frees up the human pilot's cognitive load, allowing them to focus entirely on high-level strategy and safety. Surgery is rapidly moving toward that exact same model.
So advanced surgical centers will use a hybrid model. Yes. The human surgeon provides the medical intuition and the critical judgment. They dictate the overarching strategy, right? Telling the system what needs to be done.
Right.
And then they delegate the physically tedious, repetitive tasks like executing 50 perfectly spaced stitches to this semi-autonomous robot.
The human dedicates 100% of their cognitive power to the what and the why, while the machine flawlessly handles the how.
Wow.
And within a decade, centers will rely entirely on this model simply because the combination drastically outperforms either one operating in isolation.
So stepping back to summarize the core takeaway here. Physical artificial intelligence in the medical field isn't some sci-fi dystopia of robots replacing humans.
Not at all.
It's actively extending human capability. It rescues our most gifted surgeons from the breakdown of their own bodies, keeps their minds in the operating room for a decade longer, and gives patients back their health faster than ever before.
It stands as one of the most profound longevity interventions we currently possess.
It really is.
And, it leaves us with an incredibly compelling question to ponder.
Oh, what's that?
Well, we noted earlier that machine learning algorithms are actively mapping the highly personalized kinetic profiles of individual master surgeons.
Right. The software is meticulously learning the exact nuances of how a specific doctor moves, their unique pacing, their mechanical technique.
Right, so consider what happens when that brilliant, once-in-a-generation master surgeon eventually does retire at age 75.
Okay.
The computer has spent a decade intricately tracking, learning from, and mapping their hands. Their personalized movement profile, their literal touch, has been completely digitized.
Wait, so future robotic systems could theoretically apply that exact stored technique to a patient decades after that surgeon has left the operating room forever?
Yes. We aren't just protecting surgical careers from biological aging today. We are on the verge of digitally preserving surgical genius for eternity.
Wow, you dedicate a lifetime to mastering a craft, and while your physical body eventually has to rest, your hands can literally continue to heal people indefinitely.
It's pretty amazing.
That is a truly profound place to leave it.
Oh.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.